Hi, this is Andrea here, and today we're going to talk about remote teams. This is on people's mind more and more these days about how to make remote teams successful. With the world not going back to the way it was before the pandemic, more and more teams are hybrid or fully virtual and going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. So let's get on with the tips. Number one, set a rhythm for your team. You want to have everyone know and to really think through what's going to happen a day in the life of your team, a week in the life, a month in the life, a quarter. What's happening? What is this rhythm that can be counted on and predictable and gives a way that everyone knows how they fit in this environment? Number two, you want to be really aware of bringing brand new people into your team. Whereas a team that's established and has a lot of interactions and interpersonal connections and knowing how we work, they may not know that when there's a brand new person coming in or even how to explain this to them. So they want to really think about how do you introduce this new member? What do you want to do their first 30 days? You might want to do things such as having each team member introduce themselves. That's something we did really effectively, where they would write a little bio about themselves, about their likes, what they enjoy doing, what's some of their biggest challenges, often a little mini interview that can be shipped out to everyone on the team right when the person is joining, a way to introduce the team to the new player. Likewise, thinking about how do you really ramp that player in is going to make a big difference on how successful they are long-term. Thinking about the team itself. Number three is really about the group meetings that you're having, grouping those meetings together so that the recurring meetings in any given day from that exercise when you went through what happens a week in the life, a day in the life, etc. There's certain recurring meetings, making sure that those meetings are grouped together to minimize interruptions for the team. If you can do that, it has huge benefits of just letting people schedule their life and all their interactions at home better and just be more productive as well. If you find that those grouped together meetings are taking too big of a chunk of time on every given like Wednesday, it's too much that everybody's in all these meetings, that tells you something about your meeting culture and is a good way to really address how is this team spending their time. With a distributed team, especially now, people often moved, right? So during the pandemic, you might have had or prior to the pandemic, you might have had everyone working in one location. Now that they don't have those restrictions, people have moved out of the city, away from their job, potentially to a different time zone. In that case, you really want to look at your team and establish core work hours so that you're not having people expecting to be up around the clock or they'll miss something. Getting all those meetings together and within core working hours that people are going to be available and they're on Slack or they're whatever way that you interact normally so that everyone can count on having that person as well. Even if it isn't the full 8 hours a day anymore, it might be just a four hours in the middle of the day that each time zone can make sure that there's good overlap. Talking about meetings, one of the things that you'll also do is you want to cancel meetings. You don't want to have a meeting if there's no need to have a discussion about it, or if there's no decision being made, no discussion happening, cancel the meeting. But it's a balance, like all things. You want to make sure that now you're having these Slack conversations, these chat conversations. You don't want people to feel like, hey, I can't keep track of what's happening. The big decisions, take the time, slow down, get everyone together on a call, a video call, and make sure you're looking at each other, you're really engaging and giving everyone the opportunity to participate and or at least to hear what's happening, because all this channels going on simultaneously, people often feel like they don't understand what's going on. When you're thinking of tooling up, oftentimes, and a lot of companies have already gone through this kind of transition, but a lot of times your tools depended on people being in the same room. And you may do for a while, but now as this is going to be going on and on, you want to make sure you have web native tools. You want to have all the interactions that are important being supported virtually, being supported in a distributed environment. You don't want people to feel left out or unable to contribute because they can't see the whiteboard that everyone's writing on, or they don't see the Scrum board with a lot of Post-it notes on them. Those physical manifestations of how the team works have to be moved online. A big thing that's important to do is to make sure again, we're doing all these things virtually, that you get your team together face to face. It's a big investment, but it's definitely worth it, especially to develop those teammate to teammate bonds. I recommend at minimum of 2 times a year to have your entire team get together at a location. It doesn't need to be a glamorous location, but together face to face to work through the things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to work out online or virtually. And just getting to know each other, building those bonds is really important. As far as frequency goes, a minimum of 2 times a year, I believe this should happen, optimally 3 or 4 times a year to get these teams together. When you go back to that heartbeat of the team, the rhythm of the team, looking at things on the same sort of rhythm of how often are we going to get together to talk about goals, to reset, to bond, to do all of those things that make successful teams really, really thrive. And then another thing while you're there is to make sure that you're looking at doing a team retrospective, a way of stepping back and saying, what went right, what went wrong, lessons learned, next steps, what are we going to do to be more successful? How can we do this? And having the team be able to help drive the path forward. And that's actually my final point. Through all of this, it's really important when you're building a team that works in a new way for many people, you have to have a learning mindset of testing things out, being okay that things fail, learning from both the failures and the successes, and making sure that you can continue to learn and grow and evolve as the nature of your team evolves as well. And with that, thanks for watching. I hope you got some value out of the tips I shared for running a distributed team. And I'm looking forward to creating more content like this. So if you like what I have here, please let me know by liking the channel or checking out any of my other social media channels and joining the conversation that way. Thanks.